platinum is the currency that matters the most, and they start you with 50.
Uh-huh.
You can spend that any way you want. I mean, you can go to the marketplace and blow it, but the one thing to consider is that you only have a certain number of slots available for weapons and a certain number of slots for warframes. So as you make new weapons and make new warframes, they take up those slots, and so eventually it's going to say, you already have, I think they give you like 4 weapon slots or something to start out. It'll say you've already used your 4 weapon slots, so you can't finish crafting this weapon because you've already used it all. So then you have to spend platinum to get that weapon slot again.
Yeah.
So the best use for your platinum starting out is to buy slots for weapons and slots for your warframes, so you can continue to upgrade and move forward from there.
Okay, so it's more or less upgrade your storage first, because you're going to want to store a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and you'll eventually be deleting really shitty weapons that you don't want to use or you'll never need. Now there is a wiki. There are some weapons that are going to be needed to be combined with other weapons, and there's a wiki for that. I don't have those remembered because that's what the wiki's for, honestly.
That's a lot of information to remember too.
Yeah, and you'll probably end up deleting some frames too, because not every frame is like, there's some frames that have a variant. So for example, like your Excalibur, there's an Excalibur Umbra later on. And there are also prime variants of a lot of the warframes. So if you have, let's say, Rhino, but then you end up getting Rhino Prime later on, Rhino Prime has better base stats than normal Rhino. I was saying, if you have a Rhino, which Rhino is a pretty early frame that you get in the game, later on you can get a Rhino Prime, and Rhino Prime has better base stats. And so you'll find there's really no reason to hold on to a Rhino and a Rhino Prime. So when you get the Prime version, you you delete them from your inventory, the Rhino, and then you get that slot back. So
and then you
you'll end up doing that.
Prime. Okay.
Yeah. So you'll see. I didn't use any abilities in the last little one that we were running through because his abilities are just kind of crazy, and you got to stack them. But I can show you some of Vanessa's because he's a bit of a speed demon.
I saw a demon. Let's see if I can keep up with him.
Yeah, so he has a trail of fire that he leaves behind him as an ability, and I catch enemies on fire as I move. And so if they step in it, they'll die. Unless, of course, they're high enough level.
Yeah. I was just trying to keep up with you. You were gone immediately.
My favorite ability is I can throw a halo, like a little boomerang out, and smack people with it. I love it. It's great. I'll show it to you here.
You just wrecking
people. That poor guy. Here's my boomerang thing.
What?
Which you can teleport to it if you activate it again. You can actually teleport to wherever it goes.
Oh man, so that could be useful in, going to scavenge stuff later, right?
Yeah, if you're trying to escape something. So yeah, the abilities are different for all the warframes, and you can tailor with mods. You can tailor towards certain abilities if you want. Like if one ability is really powerful but some of the others are not that great, then you can modify them to kind of build towards one.
Yeah.
And my weapon is different this time. I'm actually using a shotgun.
I saw that one first.
It's a plasma shotgun that actually goes through enemies. So if there's a big line of enemies, it'll actually shoot through all of them.
That's phenomenal.
I think I brought my scythe back. Yeah, I did.
Hey, I got a little.
Yeah, I love my shotgun. My shotgun was probably, so when I was playing, and I probably still had like 100 hours in or something at this point, there was no gun that I was really that drawn to, and then I got the shotgun, and it's all I used for probably like another 100 hours, because it was just like, this gun is amazing.
I need it. I'm so glad I have it.
Then I ended up getting the flamethrower, which you saw previously.
Yes.
And that gun's even better, honestly, in my opinion. And it's one of those guns where it doesn't drop anymore in the game. The blueprints don't drop. But if you talk to just someone that's been around, they probably have a blueprint, and they'll give it to you. So they'll just give it to you. Like, it's so no one's selling it for platinum. They'll just hand it to you.
It's like, oh, here you go, I got one.
Yeah. So one thing also, so you can get blueprints for other weapons in the marketplace on your ship. To start crafting other weapons, because you'll spend a lot of time crafting stuff, and you'll want to be constantly trying to craft stuff because there is a wait time for everything that you craft.
Yes.
For example, I think it's 24 hours for weapons. Warframes take 3 days.
And that's real time?
So, Yeah, it's real time 3 days, so that's 3 days later you're gonna have to come back, which sounds terrible, and honestly in the beginning it kind of is. But later on in the game, when you're much better at it, and you've got 3 or 4 different Warframes building at the same time, and then you're gonna level them and play with them. There have been times where I'm like, crap, I've got like frames that are done that I'm not ready to collect yet because I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with this guy, or what to do from there. So it does get better.
So it's a little grindy at first, but then it's worth it.
It's very grindy all the same. It doesn't really matter when, unfortunately.
It's always a little grindy.
Yeah, it's a grind fest. That's really all it is. You're just grinding over and over and over and over. I mean, the end of the game is fashion frames, so you're grinding so that later, even though you're grinding for better weapons, later on you're really just focused on trying to make yourself look as sick as possible.
Says the man that's
to your
completely
standards.
Samurai'd out in glowing red.
Neza's dope.
You're like, oh,
cool
no.
Warframe. And I don't think Neza has a prime variant yet. I don't even remember how I got Neza, honestly. So I had played 200 hours, burned myself out because I did 200 hours in like 2 months, 3 months or something like that.
Yeah.
Burned myself out, quit for 6 months, came back, unlocked Neza. Neza was actually just sitting in my foundry ready to be picked up. Apparently I was crafting Neza and didn't know it.
Yeah.
And, started it. I was kind of like, meh. Started putting mods on them, and then before I knew it, I was like, Neza's my favorite. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the beginning as far as like installing your foundry so you can craft, which you all need parts to do, installing your section for mods. You just installed, I think the beginning section, you installed the area where you can manage your weapons and your appearance and stuff like that.
Yes, I believe I did. I think that's at the bottom of the ship.
Yeah, and so then later on, honestly, this is really just the tip of the iceberg, because there's open world. Actually, there's 2 open world maps now.
Really?
Where you can play open world. You can play with up to 4 people, open world, or by yourself. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, they feel terrible just because you're running around, and if you're with parties, they all have arc wings, which there are some arc wing missions. It's basically like a space flight suit that you get. The arc wing missions sound cool in theory, but they're basically terrible. But when you get to the open world, you can actually get an arc wing to travel distances, and it's fucking amazing, honestly.
And the missions suck, but actually using the arc wing is really cool, is what you're saying.
Well, no, the arc wing missions are just generally terrible. Even using the arc wing feels terrible. But when you get to the open world, because it's so big, and you're sprinting and everybody else is like flying around doing missions, and you're just trying to catch up to them, it's so much nicer to just bust out the arc wing and go crazy.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, and then you'll find when you talk to the navigation at the front of the ship, there's a lot. There's events and weekly alerts, sometimes daily alerts. There's evasions and syndicate missions and void fissures, which I'm not even like, some of this stuff I'm not even going to get into because it's just too much. And then once you get to a certain point, there's like a daily mission called a shorty. And then there's even a new thing that they've added called Night Waves, which I don't think you can do until Mastery rank like 5 or 10, honestly.
Man.
I don't think you even get access to it. There's a lot of stuff to do, basically. Yeah, there's a lot to do. There's a lot of things to keep you interested. Oh, I remember what it was now. Every time you go into a mission, the map changes a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So they're kind of like a tile set that actually rotates. So it's a little bit different every time you go in, while the general, I guess, environment is the same. The actual route that you get to the exit and some of the rooms may differ, which you'll find much later on when you're doing stuff at the Void, because there are rooms that are like trial rooms that have rare mods if you can finish the trial, but it doesn't mean they spawn every time, so you have to know where to look. And you don't want to spend 20 minutes running through a mission to try and find them, so you need to learn where they can spawn, and then you just take someone really quick to try and finish them. So, stuff like that. And you can get cats and dogs.
Yeah, I was looking through here, companion loadout.
Yeah, and you can
Cats
get sentinels. Yeah, you can get cats and dogs, and then you can also get some like robotic type of companions too, but I don't really use those anymore because I've got my cat, and nothing else matters to me.
You, Mr.
Kitty
Houdini.
cat. Yeah. Man,
Or Miss Houdini.
so many weapons and stuff I have too. It's ridiculous.
I've got
Just got
one.
so much shit.
And I did notice, you were saying earlier about how you can buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm flipping through here for like the loadouts. I went to appearance. I just went to skins. And yeah, I was seeing here $4 or $5 for just base Excalibur skins. Just from the Steam creators.
Yeah, just from Steam community. Yep, but beyond that, all the other ones that you see in there, they're platinum. You can spend platinum for those, but oftentimes, especially through the Nightwave thing now, you're able to unlock a lot of those skins just by playing the game. So
that's awesome.
So there's a lot of stuff that you can unlock just by playing the game. Like the armor that I use on pretty much all my Warframes now, my back and shoulder armor, I got from the Nightwaves of last season, because it was, if you got to the very final section of it, then you got a piece of you got like an armor set, and I was like, I want that, so that's what I did.
You're like, I need it. Big need.
Yeah, I need that right now.
Oh, so I'm changing all my colors here just to screw around with it. That's pretty sweet. Even without the skins, there's some serious in-depth customization.
Yeah, you can see that in the beginning a lot of them are locked.
I did notice
again,
that. Platinum.
You can get all that through platinum. Yeah, which, I mean, sounds annoying, and in the beginning it kind of is, but eventually you're going to have so many that you're going to be like, oh god, where's that one color I wanted?
Because I see down
and before you know it, you might even log in to play and not actually get anything done because you just spent the whole damn time customizing the color of your Warframe.
That's kind of
or trying to complement the colors of your weapons with your Warframe and stuff like that.
That is 100% going to happen to me at least once, just for the fact I
ended up
playing through custom.
There's a Warframe named Devara, and she's really annoying. I absolutely hated getting her, just because of how obnoxious she is to have to go get. I actually think I did the quest for her for a little bit, said screw it, and then I bought her with platinum. So I was like, I'm just going to do it that way, which I think that's probably what most people do because it's so obnoxious with her. But she's got an ability that allows her to shoot out like a, what does it do? It's called, what is it called? I can't remember, but it shoots out basically like a string with her bow, and you can sit on the string. So if you shoot it up in the air, you can run across it. Hold on, we'll do a mission. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
And you can run across it. We'll just do this extermination mission again.
Okay.
But you can run across it, and so you can run across like empty areas. And so I got her specifically so that one of the open areas you can fish, and I like to fish. And I don't like running around the edge of the pond, so I can actually shoot the arrow across the whole pond and then just sit on the arrow because it doesn't go away so long as you don't have more than 3 out. So I can just sit on top of the line over top of the pond and just fish over top of the pond the whole time. I got her specifically to do that. It's ridiculous.
Whoa, you can do this. You got this.
Oh, that's right. You have to hold it. That's what it was.
What is that?
So yeah, you can do a dash line for her, and you can run across it. So you can imagine if there's a big pond of water, I'm just gonna jump up to this. I'm just gonna sit on this, and I'm gonna fish down into the pond the whole time. Like, that's all I do. I wanted her just for that.
That is awesome. And then anyone else can jump on the zip line as well.
Yep. So for defense missions, you can use it like this too. Makes it fun.
Yeah.
She's got some other neat skills too. I just don't use them because this is all I really wanted.
So what was this frame's name again?
Ibarra.
Ibarra.
She's kind of a later frame to get because you have to do spy missions, which I personally hate, and you have to not get detected doing them. Ooh. And they're kind of an annoying mission type, unfortunately. Oh, I think it's 4 lines you can have at a time. I think I said 3, but I think you can have 4 out at a time. Yeah, it's 4.
That's crazy though, because you can jump from line to line.
Well, and what's fun too is you can see the colors of my Warframe match the color of my lines, so you can actually you can change that too. Yeah, I was taking notes on all the stuff that I should cover, and I was like, God, there's just so much shit to cover that's like it's just inconceivable. The amount of shit that this game has, it's absurd.
It is insane.
So I figured, honestly, just kind of experimenting, learning that your movement is better than you think it is. I think those by themselves are really valuable things to know. So I remember when I learned bullet jumping, I was like, I'm sorry, I can do what?
You can do what?
Yeah, there's a lot of different varieties of weapons. There's hammers and all kinds of stuff. You've got the staff. There's swords and scythes now, spears.
Oh, I jumped off the edge. Whoops.
It's okay, they just bring you back.
I see that. I got something.
You can turn gore on in the game too, so you can cut people in half. I don't think they have that on by default, but so if you attack somebody, you can cut them in half. Oh, I leveled this weapon. Oh, I must have been trying to upgrade it.
I'm gonna turn that on later.
So there is a when you level up a weapon, there's not always there is a kind of a reason to re-level weapons that you've already ranked up to 30, because you can add a thing called a forma to them, which gives it, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but it gives it a polarity slot, and if the mod matches the polarity slot on the weapon, then the mod gives, it only costs half. So if it initially costs 10, if it matches polarity, it only costs half. So you end up having more capacity for higher level mods on your weapons. So you'll end up re-leveling weapons if you want to get a lot of high level mods on them, so that you can really do more damage.
Sheesh.
So you'll find that when you get attached to certain weapons, you'll end up re-leveling them multiple times. I think my one shotgun I showed you, I think I've leveled that sucker up like 4 times now.
Yeah. There's insane. So you can get attached to items almost and just keep them.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely can. I mean, there's certain weapons that I have that I just really like, even though they don't really serve as much of a purpose in some areas anymore.
Oh, I'm going to be that way. We all sentimental.
I mean, my flamethrower I take to missions that I probably shouldn't take it on, and I've been yelled at before for taking it on missions that are not designed for it. They're like, why would you bring it to this boss? It's not going to kill this boss. What are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I wanted it. Here I am. You guys can do it.
It's fine.
Carry me.
Carry me. Put me in your backpack.
Please carry me.
A little, we'll see everybody next time on whatever the episode happens to be. I'm not sure how deep we'll go into this.
Bananas.
Bananas.